Our second speaker today is also a student at NPS. She and her husband have a son and are expecting another in the spring. Today she's giving us delivering speech number 9, Persuade with Power, which is 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. And her speech is entitled Parasite Paranoia. Please join me in welcoming Christina Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, congratulations, Mrs. Hicks. Looks like your due date is late March. A few things we need to cover, some things to avoid. Smoking, no. Alcohol, unpasteurized soft cheese, deli meat, sushi. Wait. No sushi? No sushi for 9 months? Now, as any sushi fan knows out there, no sushi for a few weeks, let alone 9 months, is torture. Not to mention the fact the minute someone says you can't have something, you immediately get intense cravings for whatever that something is. So being my first pregnancy and not having the gouge and wanting to make a shrewd decision about my few food choices, I immediately rushed home to do the research. So after searching the internet and looking at all the internet postings on WebMD and Baby Center, had a baby, you know about Baby Center. One thing kept coming up over and over again about sushi, and it was a speculative risk of foodborne illness, specifically parasites. And one dietitian talked about worms crawling around and stealing the nutrition from the baby. That's scary stuff. But as I continued to do my research, what I found was that there was really no scientific research that it was based off of. There was no direct link between consuming sushi while you were pregnant and harm to the fetus. So this got me wondering, and I did some more research, and I found out that 85% of foodborne illness from seafood is actually from mollusks like oysters and clams. Nothing at all from the sushi that's typically used, the fish that's typically used in sushi. And the most common ones, and particularly my favorites, salmon and tuna. Tuna, which is dwells in the deep, very cold ocean, is not susceptible to parasites. And salmon, the kind most commonly used in restaurants, is actually farm-raised and also not very susceptible to parasites. And furthermore, because of FDA regulations, all sushi has to be frozen at some point, further killing any of those pesky parasites that might have slipped through the cracks. So I also found out that one of the biggest factors in foodborne illness is actually the cleanliness of the restaurant. Are the food being cross-contaminated? How long is it being left out? So really, if you think about it, quality Japanese restaurants are notoriously clean. So I also started to think about it from a common sense standpoint. Sushi is one of the staple items of a Japanese diet, and they don't seem to be having any problems making lots of healthy babies over there. Also, if you think about it, what about Mother Nature? People have been eating fish for centuries, and we have defenses and immunity. So what about that? But when I was reading all these posts from these pregnant women, I heard the same thing over and over again. Why take the risk? Abstain or nothing else. Why all this paranoia? What is it about Americans that make us so susceptible to these extreme messages out there? Well, if you think about it, we're bombarded daily. We have the TV on in the background, we have internet and text messages and emails for all day long, and when you're in your car, you have the radio ads. So it's almost like messages have to be extreme to get our attention. But Just like the sushi with the phantom parasites, I don't think these messages are as black and white as they seem. So I tend to agree with my new obstetrician when he sat down and said, well, Mrs. Hicks, it's all about common sense. If you're strolling along in Mexico and you're thinking about buying that deli meat from the vendor, probably not a good idea. But this is America, so come on, use your moderation. And I feel like we can apply that message to all of those extreme messages out there, whether it's eating the sushi while you're pregnant or anything else. Just remember, use your common sense, do your own research, and all things in moderation. Be well. Mr. Toastman.